want to get well is a lie. How many times have you heard that? Well, he or she is not ready. Well, there's lots of data to prove that that is not true. And perhaps while waiting to get ready, they could easily take that last deadly dose. So perhaps intervention is a good option, and she agrees with that as well. And she gave an analogy with addiction and recovery. When someone uses drugs, there's almost, if not absolute, instant gratification. That's what an addicted person is used to. Recovery does not bring instant gratification. It will bring much gratification and joy, but it's not instant. It brings pain in the beginning, and it's hard work, but it is absolutely worth it. She also pointed out that people staying with addicts are equally sick, and their bodies deteriorate equally as well. Stress is a killer. And if you know or are someone that has lived with or dealt with an addicted loved one, you know that that's a true statement. Let's try to reverse this. You're not, to someone who's addicted, you're not a bad person. You're sick, and you can't do this alone. You need to get help, as with any other disease. It is unique in many perspectives, and maybe it was a choice in the beginning. But again, anybody with any experience in this knows that when it becomes necessary that you get high or you get sick, it's a disease. Step out of the family system. Take your eyes off the addicted person. I often say when you're on a plane, which not a whole lot of people are flying as much as they used to these days, but when they tell you if the oxygen levels decrease in the plane and you need to put that oxygen mask on, don't try to put it on your son, daughter, mother, or father before putting that mask on your face. So take care of yourself. Take your eyes off the addicted person and take care of yourself. I'm going to read a poem that we started last week's show with here. And I have so much to get through today. I hope that I don't have to cram too much in. I'll try to read this properly. And this is by Laura Lee Rosano, by the way. And it's entitled, Addiction Says. Hey, little girl, I've got something you need. A pill to make you pretty. Oh, yes, indeed. Just one taste and you'll be mine. Your head will spin. You'll feel so fine. I'm cunning, baffling, and powerful, too. I'm larger than life and smarter than you. I'll tell you things that aren't even true. For me, there isn't anything you won't do. At first, I'll be your very best friend. I'll love you to death till the very end. I'll steal your thoughts, but you won't know it's no longer you who'll be running the show. Your life will change right away. You'll wake up wanting me every day. People will tell you to leave me alone, but you won't listen, for you I own. No one else can interfere, for if they do, they'll pay dear. I won't settle just for you. I want your entire family too. I want their finances and their peace of mind. I want them hopeless, broken, and no longer kind. For it's greed and hate that make me tick. I'll feed you blame and resentment to make you sick. It's really easy. You should see. I'm amazed no one catches on to me. People build me shelters and safe injection sites. Seems me killing you is really my right. But you won't know that, not at first. Our relationship builds. For me, you'll thirst. I'm the plague. I'm death. I'm immoral and cruel. You'll give me your life. Oh, what a fool. What starts out as fun quickly disappears. I'll age you faster than your years. Your looks will change. Your eyes will cloud as I wrap you in my deadly shroud. You dance like a puppet to my commands. Our days are numbered. Together we stand. I'll use you up and spit you out. I'll end your life without a doubt. There'll be many to choose from when you are gone. Just one little pill and I move on. I'm in your homes, in your schools. I'm on the streets. I'm all dressed up and I look so sweet. 1 in 7 is infected by me, but I want you all, and soon it may be. Come here, little boy, have a toke. You'll find euphoria in my smoke by Laura Lee Rosano. If you would like to get in touch with Laura Lee, her website is jaggedlittleedges.com. That's the name of one of her books. There are several in the Jagged Little Edges series. And she also wrote one, I don't have it in front of me, the title of it. Wait a minute. Yes, I do. Gracie's Secret, which is written towards a child's perspective so that they can understand. I could go into that a little bit more, but I just don't have time. But I highly recommend her blogs. You can find her on Facebook, Laura Lee, Lorelie, Laura Lee Rosano, Rozzano. If you really want some good meat to chew on and some great advice in this pandemic of addiction, she is the best that I've ever read. She had this note on a Facebook post below this poem when I saw it posted. Addiction can be summed up as death with a heartbeat. That sounds rather sad, but appropriate. Let's see. This evening we've got a couple of special guests. I'm going to be speaking with Pastor Meg O'Brien, and Meg is actually starting a church that is got a similar name. I'm sorry, I said McBride. It's McBride. A church that she's calling Hope Recovery Community. And we'll talk to her about that. And then in the second half, we'll be speaking with Mark Hall. Mark has a lot of great things to share with us as well, particularly but not limited to an organization called Faceless No More, which helps those who have been locked up, jail, prison, and or homeless, and or dealing with addiction. And I've known Mark for a few years, not very well, but we're getting reacquainted, and you'll find out why. Let's see. Derek, if you're listening, stay tuned, buddy, because my friend Mark Hall, I think I'm going to put you guys together, and he helps those people that are or were incarcerated. So you're going to want to, you will get to know Mark, I promise you, and you're going to really enjoy that relationship. From what I understand, a new, stronger version of Narcan is available, and I believe that is being made available to combat the very strong fentanyl. It's unfortunate that it's necessary, but I do believe that it is. I don't have facts on that. It's just something I had in my notes here. I hope to have better information on that because, if you suspect that someone, whether they're living in your home or not, might be taking opiates excessively, perhaps, very good idea for you to keep some Narcan in your automobile, on your person, in your pocketbook, whatever, and know how to use it because it could save that person's life. I had somewhat of a troubling conversation with an attorney. No, I was not in trouble, thankfully. But a guy that I know, and he might even be listening. If he is, I'm sure he would have a good explanation, but it just didn't sit well with me. I asked him if he would, does he deal with people that get busted and and this and that. He says, oh yeah, definitely. Well, would you like to do an interview? And he said no. And he said, of course he has a client, is that client-patient privilege, client, attorney, client privilege, whatever the heck you call it. Look, I understand that. We're not going to mention any names. I just thought you might want to share, some of your experiences of what these people do. Do you see the same people all the time? Just anything that might help to educate the people that are listening to this. And he was adamant about not doing that. And he said something, I may not be quoting him exactly, but that's okay. I'm not going to mention his name. But he said that the people that are dealing, the little nickel and dime stuff, he said at these sleaze bag hotels and things like that. But the smaller deals, their bosses, their suppliers come in and pay him to get these guys off. And it isn't so that they can go home and start a new life. It's so they can get back on the streets and sell more drugs for them. I find this somewhat immoral. He knows And I'm sure he's not the only one. Obviously, this goes on all the time, everywhere. But he knows not necessarily the real kingpins, but the guys, who are dealing, they've got some quantity. Either on their premises, their vehicles. Somehow it gets to the guys that are distributing this on the streets. Again, we're not in a position to take calls right now, but if you want to chime in on that, mark@recoveringhope.org. Or if you just want to call me after the show, I'd be glad to chat with you. 910-231-6020. I found that troubling that many attorneys in town and other towns all over the country, they know who these guys are, and they just keep on taking their money. I think that's why this problem isn't going to be going away anytime soon anyway. We will make a difference. I remember who won that battle between David and Goliath. It was a tough match. David appeared to be very ill-prepared, but he had God on his side, and so do we. This is a post that I saw on Facebook from a friend of mine. Again, that was relatively disturbing. I'm just going to read it the way he wrote it. And this is a local friend of mine who happens to be a pastor. Took a man to rehab today. He'll spend 8 to 10 days on the couch in fetal position fighting the worst case of flu you could ever imagine. He'll live. He'll wish he could die the whole time. He's fighting heroin. Oh, I'm sorry. He's fighting Suboxone, synthetic heroin given to him by the local drug dealers. Oh, I'm sorry. Given to him by prescription from the local government-funded drug counseling folks. And if you don't know what Suboxone is a drug, a synthetic drug. It is basically synthetic heroin that people can take, ideally for short periods of time, so that they don't use heroin. Okay, so let me continue. Killing people while making money off of grants, just pure evil. What is happening? He got off heroin, went to rehab, was sent to the local counselors, and they prescribed this drugs. 3 years later, he's more addicted to this than regular heroin. Harder to come off, and they give him no plan to get clean and free from this drug. They have a lifetime customer and have to keep the numbers up so that they can get their grants. Your tax money pays for this, and it's ruining a generation. They say it keeps them off heroin. Sure, because they're taking heroin. They call it maintenance. Sure, with no plan of recovery or delivery. Breaks my heart. Makes me sad of what we fight. A lady told me today that no one would believe that if they didn't see it for themselves. Then there's methadone, synthetic cocaine, he says. Same deal. Don't let them put your children on this mess unless it's for a short 3 to 5 day detox. Sorry, but I listened to a guy cry and shake for an hour-long ride in the car, asking me why they did this to him. Doctors did this. Good question. I spoke to this man on the right before I came down to the studio, and he said that they this organization, I'll just call it, started him with about 8 to 10 milligrams of Suboxone and increased it to 23. That's a lot of Suboxone. I think a common dosage per day is 8 milligrams, and I know someone very well who took like 6 months to progressively taper down from that, and he did it the right way. And in that application, that's okay. But to have somebody increase this dose, and they're saying, well, but he's not taking heroin. Well, he's still getting high. You're just changing the drug. When they take this medication, it gets you high. I have taken it because I know somebody that was on it. It was one of my kids. And I said, you know what? Let me just try that. And I tried a very small piece. I was high. Okay, I can't really describe the feeling, but I wasn't myself. Then there was another comment on here. Let me see if I have time to read this. This was a reply to this man's post. That we'll be praying for this young man. Our son and his ex-wife are both Suboxone hooked and have been for years. I begged him not to start taking it, but to no avail. Now they spend close to $1,000 a month for doctor's visits and each of their prescriptions. They think it's better for them because a doctor gives them the script. If it wasn't better for them, the doctor wouldn't write the script for it, right? See, when people are put on this maintenance drug, they have to go to the doctor to get the prescription renewed. Doctor's got to get paid. I know there's at least one doctor in town, $300 cash, and then he'll write your prescription. Got to clean this up, folks. We've got to make a difference. Love to know what you think. Well, we're going to take our first break here, folks. Then we're going to speak with Pastor Meg McBride and her church that's coming to town, Hope Recovery Community. We'll be right back. Besides my involvement in Prodigal Recovery, I'm also in the construction business. I say that to say this. When we have tropical storms or hurricanes, the real hard, difficult, expensive, and dangerous work is usually the result of trees falling on homes or other personal property. Hurricane season is not the only time to get prepared for this. As a matter of fact, it's before and after hurricane season that you need to get prepared. My son Chris started his tree business called Klein Pro Expert Tree Care after Hurricane Florence. Chris has all the equipment and manpower to take on even the most challenging jobs. With over 20 years of combined experience, Klein Pro LLC can safely remove any unwanted hazardous trees from your property. They also offer tree pruning, elevation, dead wood removal, and other expert tree care services. Don't wait until you have a tree emergency. Visit kleinpro.com, that's Klein with a K. Check them out on Facebook or call Chris Marcley at 910-540-5249. Mention this ad for a 10% discount. When it's time to get something done, and you've done your due diligence to find the best vendor, it's time to say, just do it. Well, there are a few things we need to do from time to time, and that is to move. Whether it's moving that overstuffed garage to climate-controlled storage or moving across the nation, the company to choose is Just Move It Moving and Storage. Stetson Strickland, owner and founder of Just Move It, takes pride in his work and is hands-on with every move and offers full 100% carte blanche service where you pack and they carry. Junk removal, site cleanups, if it involves moving things, this is your one-stop company. They also give back to the community. Unwanted furniture goes into storage, and every month they donate it to those in need in the community. So, if you're ready to make that move or just get a quote, Just Move It can be reached at 910-795-7658 or on the web at movingcompanywilmingtonnc.com. Just call them. Hey, good evening. Welcome back to Recovering Hope. My name is Mark Marcley. Pleasure to be here with you this evening. If you would like to get in touch with me, any comments, suggestions, maybe you'd like to share a story of hope with us on the air or off the air, you can email me at mark@recoveringhope.org or my number, 910-231-6020. Love to hear from you. And good evening, Meg.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Good.
Good to be here.
Same here. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, I'm real happy and excited about being on the show. I appreciate the invitation very much.
Well, you're very welcome. I just couldn't help because there's so much similarity in our names. You know, there has to be something there.
Yes, I agree.
That is the name of the church. So give us a little background, Meg, on perhaps a little on yourself and what got you doing this, and we'll go from there.
Sure. So first of all, I am a new pastor here in Wilmington, and the name of my church is Hope Recovery.
Mm-hmm.
So very similar to your show, Mark.
Yeah.
I have been in recovery myself for over 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And so, yeah, a pretty long time.
Mm-hmm.
And probably sometime in 2017, I had done a new inventory with a sponsor. And at the end of that fifth step, I had an idea that I wanted to start a recovery church.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been spending the past 5 years writing a lot of notes in a notebook.
Mm-hmm.
And people used to say, "Hey, where's your church?" And I would say, "It's in this notebook," right? And so I've just been writing all these notes down about what I wanted it to be and look like and how I wanted it to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things that played into that idea was, for many years, I was a participant in Celebrate Recovery at Myrtle Grove Presbyterian.
I know that church.
I was a co-leader there for 6 years. And we used to joke that if the Celebrate Recovery police would show up at our Celebrate Recovery, they would close us down because we actually, it was really beautiful. We took a lot of freedom to make up our own teachings, and it was me and some other folks and Pastor Jim, who was on staff there at the time.
Jim Glasgow?
And yes,
Mm-hmm.
And it became this really incredible space where we were learning together, we were growing together, of course, praying and singing worship songs together. Mm-hmm. And then at some point, we actually even started to have communion in Celebrate Recovery. And for a time, it was really, really incredible. And so Jim is actually helping me with Hope Recovery Church to get that started. And we've all been saying that if we could reproduce those like incredible nights at Celebrate Recovery, where just the Spirit was moving and people were getting it, and that if we can do that again and feel that and know that when we see it, then we can die happy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Hope Recovery Church is really kind of an outgrowth of our time together in Celebrate Recovery, and all the lead team that's helping me with Hope Recovery are the people from that group. So that's really exciting to me.
Yeah,
it's very exciting.
Good. Yeah. I went to Myrtle Grove. That was went to another church for a little while when we moved here in '96, and then we ended up in Myrtle Grove for quite a few years. And some great people. I miss a lot of the people there, and then we moved on to Port City. But obviously nothing against Myrtle Grove. I never studied under Pastor Horace Hilton, who was an amazing pastor.
He has a reputation.
Yeah.
Pastor Jim Glasgow speaks of him highly and often.
Oh yeah. I got to know him a little bit because I did some work on his home over at Wrightsville Beach after Hurricane Fran. So I did get to know him a little bit, and then got a hold of a bunch of his old tapes, and he's very, very wise pastor and very well spoken. But putting that aside, so that sounds like a really good foundation for this church, and your place of meeting, Meg, where is that going to be?
So we're going to be meeting at Devon Park United Methodist Church. I am a Methodist pastor. Mm-hmm. And that is on Winston Avenue, which is right near where Wilshire and Wrightsville Avenue intersect in the neighborhood of Devon Park. We're going to be meeting during the week. And
that's right.
For
you said
several
that.
reasons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're going to meet during the week in the evening because it's kind of going to look like a recovery meeting and kind of going to look like church. Mm-hmm. And we haven't been able to meet, right, because of COVID, but I feel like I keep saying when we get into the church laboratory, we're going to figure out what it all looks like. But I want people to be able to have a midweek booster that can really help their spiritual formation. And so it's not just another meeting, right? There's going to be elements of church in it. And then also, if people are attending a Sunday church, I really want them to stay connected to whatever fellowship they're participating in.
Good, that's smart.
Hope Recovery will just help enhance those already existing memberships in churches. I don't want to compete with church, in Sunday slots. And so, I like that a lot. And there'll be some folks who make Recovery Church their home church as well. But
yeah, I was going to say, so you will eventually meet on Sundays, I would imagine.
Probably not.
Oh, no?
Always during the week.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll just have we'll just have church at night during the week.
Right? Any particular
So
evening?
I'm not sure yet, actually. So Devon Park has an existing congregation, a very small congregation.
I see.
And I'm just beginning to discuss a schedule with them. But it's either going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Okay.
So one of those nights. And we're going to get going in September. So hopefully the first week of September, we're going to have our big launch, open the doors for the very first time and see who comes.
Okay. Well, I will be glad to do whatever I can do to help maximize that initial. And
Awesome.
I have no way to know how many people are listening here locally. Anyway, I know there's lots of people that watch or listen online in different parts of the country, but I hope that there's a substantial audience here that would like to come and check it out. I'd like to come and check it out myself and see if I can maybe even help out in some way from time to time.
That would be great.
I think you have a website for the church, don't you, Meg?
I do. It's hoperecoveryilm.org.
ILM.org. Okay.
And I want to say it's not just for people in recovery. Initially, I thought about that, but in the past year, I've been meeting parents that have lost children to overdose. I've been meeting some folks that just aren't comfortable going into traditional church, but yet they have a desire to be in a spiritual or worshiping community. And I feel like, so I started saying, after all, we're all recovering from something. And of course we know that.
Exactly.
So I really think that the reach is going to be a lot broader once we start, we start. And while it's founded on recovery principles, which, as we know, were historically Christian before AA, the program of AA was ever formed.
Right.
I have a feeling that we're gonna catch a whole bunch of other people as well, people that are over churched or under churched or just afraid to go back to church. And I'm really excited about what that means for us.
Yeah, good.
So I trust that God is going before to accomplish whatever and whoever might come. So
right.
That's been fun this past couple months. Yeah.
Sounds like you've got a little faith going on here.
I do.
Isn't that what it's all about?
I actually live in the neighborhood of Devon Park, and I've lived here for 3 years. And so when I found out that I was going to be assigned there, I just couldn't help but jump for joy that maybe God put me here 3 years ago just for this time. So I really believe that. And this is my neighborhood, and I am the pastor of the neighborhood church. And I'm really excited about that.
So you lived in a neighborhood before this, and you were already a pastor with this denomination, and then you were.
This is my first assignment. So Hope Recovery is my first assignment.
Wow.
I became a pastor last July. Right in the middle of the pandemic.
Oh boy! And then I don't know what you call the Presbyterian, but whoever it is, I don't know what they call it in the Methodist Church. Forgive me, but they assigned you to this church, and then I was
assigned to no church as of last July, and we didn't have a space, and then I just found out just recently that this space is becoming available, and it's perfect for Recovery Church because Wrightsville Avenue is kind of like the recovery corridor of Wilmington, and so we're right in a great spot, right along that street, one street off, and so it's just a really good location for us. The church it's cute and it's the right size.
Good.
And I think there's going to be a lot of potential. There's also 4 recovery meetings already meeting there. And
good.
That congregation supports recovery,
nice.
And I'm really proud of them for that. Yeah.
What is the actual address, Meg? Do you know?
30. Yes. It's 3403 Winston Boulevard.
Okay. All right. Yeah, our recovery home is right off of Wrightsville Avenue, but on the other side of College, over by about a half mile this side of Cape Fear Hospital. When I say this side, I mean closer to College.
Right.
Okay.
And, Wrightsville Avenue kind of connects us to the downtown area
Yes,
where the NA
definitely.
Clubhouse is down there on Front Street. And so I'm really think it's a great spot. And we're right off a bus stop in case someone wants to use public transportation. So, yeah, it's going to be great. I'll be officially in there July 1st. And I can hardly wait, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
I'm
good,
really excited.
Good. Yeah, you sound it. That's good. I love the enthusiasm.
I am. I'm really excited.
Good. Now, Celebrate Recovery, they also feed the people that come to those meetings. Will there be meals, or haven't you gotten that far?
So, yes, that's part of the plan. When there are volunteers that are coming that are wanting to serve in that way, we will begin meals. I love my lead team because they said to me, Meg, you are not cooking the food, right? So, we've all agreed that when people show up and we have some more folks, meals will absolutely be a part of the evening.
Good.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Now, I don't know if that means that they know you can't cook or they just don't want you doing so much.
No, I'm actually married to a former chef, and so we can cook in my house.
Good.
But I appreciate that my lead team understands that sometimes they need to declare my boundaries for me.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I feel like it's fellowship, a meal, and then we're going to do a little bit of some worship and a lot of sharing. It's going to be, for my plan, it's going to be very interactive. So rather than you sitting there and listening to me preach at you, we're going to have learning and conversation and testimony. I see it as like a creation of the community, that the sermon is going to be a collective creation. We're going to make it up. We're going to make it together.
Now,
based on topics, of course. Yeah.
Is it permissible in a lot of the 12-step meetings that are, all over town, to hand out flyers at these places, or would that?
It is not.
I didn't think it would be, because people would be doing that with everything. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And so I respect the traditions of those programs. I think it's going to be word of mouth, and some of my lead team is in the rooms already, and the groups that are meeting there already will know that, I'm starting a recovery church. And so I really feel like word of mouth is just going to get around. And I'm going to do some advertising to the neighborhood that I live in, more so because, that church is sitting there. And my neighbor, interestingly, who doesn't go to church at all, said to me recently, if that church could really serve the neighborhood, we might get involved. And I found that to be a very interesting statement. So I think the neighborhood wants it has a big yard and a big property. How can the church, aside from being a church, really serve this neighborhood of Devon Park? And that's part of my dreaming, right? That it can be something incredible to the neighborhood here. Yeah.
And Meg and I have a mutual friend. If folks remember, a few weeks ago, we spoke with Barbara Jean. And Barbara Jean texted me very excited about 2 weeks ago, telling me about this church and the name of the church and how it all just fits together. And I would love to talk to you. And she was right, and look forward to meeting you. So the name of the church is Hope Recovery, the website, hoperecoveryilm.org. And would you like to give out this number, Meg, if somebody would like to call you for more information?
This is great.
Okay. And
this is the number. Yep.
That number is 523 9739.
910.
Okay. 910-523-9739. And Pastor Meg McBride, we thank you very much. And you might want to tune in to part 2 here. We're going to be speaking with a friend of mine who I'm getting to know better, but I think I know I can call him a friend. His name is Marcley, and he had spent some time behind bars, and now he has a ministry, among other things, called Faceless No More, trying to help those who have struggled with addiction, homelessness, and incarceration. So this should be an interesting conversation as well. I think you'd like to hear it.
All right. Thanks, Mark, for having me. I really appreciate it. It was fun.
My pleasure. And keep me posted on the news, and we'll definitely keep the audience abreast.
You bet. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Take care now. We're going to take just a real short break here, folks, and maybe just one spot, TK. We'll get right back and see if we can get Oh, he's rolling his eyes. I don't know if he can do one spot. He's probably queued up for two. Oh, you already have Mark on the phone? Okay, he's going to get Mark on the phone. See, if I could read lips, I'd do better. But that's okay. This is Ad Lib, folks. It's live radio. Either way, we'll be right back. Besides my involvement in Prodigal recovery, I'm also in the construction business. I say that to say this. When we have tropical storms or hurricanes, the real hard, difficult, expensive, and dangerous work is usually the result of trees falling on homes or other personal property. Hurricane season is not the only time to get prepared for this. As a matter of fact, it's before and after hurricane season that you need to get prepared. My son Chris started his tree business called Climb Pro Expert Tree Care after Hurricane Florence. Chris has all the equipment and manpower to take on even the most challenging jobs. With over 20 years of combined experience, Climb Pro LLC can safely remove any unwanted hazardous trees from your property. They also offer tree pruning, elevation, deadwood removal, and other expert tree care services. Don't wait until you have a tree emergency. Visit climbpro.com, that's climb with a K. Check them out on Facebook or call Chris Marcley at 910-540-5249. Mention this ad for a 10% discount. When it's time to get something done, and you've done your due diligence to find the best vendor, it's time to say, just do it. Well, there are a few things we need to do from time to time, and that is to move. Whether it's moving that overstuffed garage to climate-controlled storage or moving across the nation, the company to choose is Just Move It Moving and Storage. Stetson Strickland, owner and founder of Just Move It, takes pride in his work and is hands-on with every move and offers full 100% carte blanche service, or you pack and they carry. Junk removal, site cleanups, if it involves moving things, this is your one-stop company. They also give back to the community. Unwanted furniture goes into storage, and every month they donate it to those in need in the community. So, if you're ready to make that move or just get a quote, Just Move It can be reached at 910-795-7658 or on the web at movingcompanywilmingtonnc.com. Just call them. And good evening. Welcome back to Recovering Hope. My name is Mark Marcley. A pleasure to be here with you this evening. Just real quick, if you've got any comments, suggestions, stories of hope, would like to be part of this program, you can email me. The best address is mark@recoveringhope.org, or the old-fashioned way, 910-231-6020. And I welcome our next guest here, Mark Hall. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Mark. How are you? So good to be here.
Oh, man, I'm really glad we finally got to do this and catch up a little bit. You know, you and I are both very busy, so we've got about 20 minutes to go further with some of what we've discussed previously. But I just want to, before we get into what you're doing, Mark, and I know that you would appreciate this, several months ago, a gentleman named Derek contacted me after hearing me on the show. And he heard my phone number. He called me. He's in prison. He's in the local prison here in Wilmington. And we've been pen pals. I went and visited him a couple of weeks ago. And when I visited him, he may have told me some of this before, but I just want to read. And I wrote this not intending to speak about it now. I was going to just kind of written to him, so just so you understand where this is coming from. Sure. And he does listen weekly, and he's turned out to be a good friend of mine, and I think I can say vice versa. So thank you, Derek, for the card. He made me a beautiful card, nicely written, and the things he had to say. This man genuinely appreciates the little things that I've done for him. But I appreciate your friendship and encouragement. You make a difference. That's me too, Derek. This man has come a long way. He spent almost half of his life in prison. Derek was addicted to drugs, and I think he said he OD'd multiple times. On one occasion, they didn't think that he was going to be revived. The sheet was over his head, and the death certificate was filled out. when he sat up in that room with the rest of the dead bodies, I think he said the nurse ran out of the room. This was 12/18 of 2018. This was also his clean date. Let that sink in, okay? You know, a lot of people sadly have been technically dead. They've been revived, but I don't know how common it is for the sheet to be pulled over their head. Basically, the bag was zipped and the death certificate was signed. So I would say please pray for Derek and that his relationship with his family can be restored. He also shared with me that, you know, between his children and siblings and mom and dad, he's had a really, really rough time. And this man needs some prayer. And he would actually like to study to become a pastor while he's in prison. And that's why I told him, Mark, that I would, well, I'm telling him now again, because he's probably listening. I'm going to put you guys together. I'll give you his address or the other way around in a letter. And I think this is a really good fit. So tell us now, Mark, if you would, a little bit about yourself and what you're doing.
Wow, Mark, I so appreciate you sharing that letter. And,
thanks.
you know, and the Dereks. My prayers are for Derek, and I would just, I hope he is listening, and I would tell him just to please stay encouraged and just keep trying to walk strong. Yeah. And I tell you what, and Mark, you'll probably experience this as you get to know Derek or others who are behind prison walls. They're inspiring to us.
Yes, he is.
And their stories. But
yep.
To tell you a little bit about myself and all, it's I spent about 20 years, a little bit over 20 years in the financial services industry. And if you look back 11 or 12 years ago, my life looked picture perfect. I had 2 grown children, young adult children, a wonderful marriage. And I myself had never been involved with the justice system. And other than the regular traffic ticket every now and then.
Yeah.
But I crossed the line, and in 2009, I crossed the line, and I had to tell my friends and my family and my clients and my staff that I was not exactly the person they thought I was. I had crossed the line. I had stolen some money from some of my clients, and I ended up serving a 10-year prison sentence, and which started October the 2nd, 2009. And, quite frankly, one of the gentlemen who was there the day I referred to, I put it all on the table. He made a statement in his discovery to the court that it looked like Mr. Hall had a complete sense of relief on him, and just a burden had been lifted. And while it had been, Mark, there was also a complete sense of hopelessness.
Yeah.
But that began a 10-year prison journey. And I tell you what, Mark, and a lot of people would say, it probably is easy to say now after being out for 20 months. I've been out now for 20 months.
Wow.
They may say, well, it's easy to say now, but I truly see where it was an incredible journey. It was very hard. I broke a lot of hearts. There was a lot of collateral damage within my family and friends and things. But I see where so much good has come from it. There were so many times when I was in prison, because I was so fortunate, unlike many of the men I was incarcerated with, and we're talking about Derek, who's been there for a long time, and I was fortunate enough, if that's the right word to use, to go to prison where I had a marriage in place. I had relationships and friendships with people in place.
Right.
And those people stayed with me through the prison journey.
Good.
But there were so many times while I was in prison, I kept thinking, I only wish people knew. I only wish people knew what was actually going on here. And I only wish people could know the Dereks and things. But it was quite a prison journey. And so many things that I could share with you. But I went through the prison journey. And toward the end of that prison journey, the last 3 years, I was able to leave prison every morning. And I started out sitting in my detention center here in Johnston County for 20 months before going to the prison. And but the last part of my journey, I was in Hillsborough at Orange Correctional, and I was able to leave prison every morning and go to a work release job at a place called the Durham Rescue Mission.
That's where I met you.
Exactly. And it was amazing. You know, before my time and before my failure, I probably never would have had the patience to work with those that are suffering from addiction or suffering or coming from incarceration or domestic abuse. But boy, how hearts changed. I'm thankful for that. And
yeah, me too.
I continued to work at the rescue mission while I was incarcerated, and even afterwards, and serving as their assistant director of operations. And I now work for a ministry called Hope Center Ministries, and we operate 28 centers across the country and the UK, and we're a 12-month faith-based recovery program. And Mark, as I said, quite frankly, years ago, I never would have had the patience for it.
Right.
But just getting to know the men that I came to know and care about and love, it was amazing. And, you know, so much of our prison population are the derricks. You know, we have probably, and I would just guess, I don't know this to be an exact statistic, but there's probably 60% that are in there on what we would refer to as drug charges. And I look at that as two very distinct groups. Oftentimes, Mark, it's a young man who may have been introduced to the painkillers through surgery or a sports injury. And you know the story, Mark.
Yes, I do.
They come from a perfect family. It looks picture perfect, just like my own family. But they get introduced to the pills, and it segues into other things and other addictions and addictive behavior, which turns to criminal behavior because they can't live at home anymore. You know, they've taken from their parents, they've stolen from other places. And when you look at the criminal record of many of the people I was involved with, you see all these breaking and enterings and petty crimes and even some major crimes to support their habit.
Right.
And that was one part of the population. The other part was the young men who saw the drug trade as their economic opportunity. And, you know, I met many men. In fact, a gentleman I came to know real well who served a life sentence. And he was fortunate enough to get out on a MAP contract, but he, to this day, has never used a drug, never drank an alcohol, but he was in there serving a life sentence because of his involvement in the drug trade. So, Mark, it was incredibly eye-opening. And,
I'm sure.
You know, and you mentioned that we met when we were at the Durham Rescue Mission, and I think that's an interesting story, too, with what you were involved with Prodigal Recovery.
Right.
And your son and my son coming up there to visit one day. And, you know, I'll share some about my own son's personal experience. And I truly believe God has a way of making things happen that we can turn to a positive and other work. And I would say he's doing that, and I'm doing that now. But I'll never forget when I was in the fifth year of my own prison sentence, and my wife Susan came to visit me for a visitation, and it was a contact visitation. So she gave me a big hug, and she whispered in my ear. She said, "Scott's in trouble," and Scott was with her, and I never saw my son look so bad. And he was so strong when I got in trouble, and he helped take care of my business and the clients. And he really stepped up to the plate when Dad got in trouble. But he was introduced to the pills and the drugs, and I felt like there was, Mark, I felt like a punch in the gut. There was nothing I could do.
Right.
But in reality, if I had not been in prison, we probably would have thrown more money at it, tried to pay for him getting well, or he would have had access to more funds and all, where it could have become even worse.
Yes.
And all. But as I say now, the only thing I could do was pray, which was actually the greatest thing. And,
that's right. And let me just interject a second here, folks. It's Mark's son Scott and my son Chris. Scott is actually the one who found the house that we lease now for Prodigal Recovery, and my son was your son's sponsor, and they were, very close and got the house started. And Scott stayed there for quite a while, and I'm so happy that he's out living independently and his own business. Actually, businesses, I think. And it's great. I see him every once in a while. Actually, he lives with someone else who used to live at Prodigal Recovery, who's my sister's stepson. And I just saw him the other day, and it's so good to hear these things. But we're running quickly out of time here, Mark, so I want to hear about Faceless No More, if that's what you would like to talk about.
Sure, and I would like to do that. I will just interject, that experience with Scott gave me the ability to do the work I'm doing now.
Okay.
Because when I work at Hope Center and when I worked at the Durham Rescue Mission, I could look, I could see those eyes, and the eyes of the young men and women that I work with are the same eyes that Scott had. And before this personal experience, I never would have had the patience for it. But what I do now in the 20 months since I've been out, I teach courses under what's called the Faceless No More tagline. But I teach classes, continuing education classes through Duke University and also UNC Greensboro. And what I do is now I'm getting the opportunity to tell folks what it's like behind bars or what it's like in this experience. And just like when I was incarcerated, when I would think back, I only wish people knew. Right. Now we're letting people know, and we're using these classes and facilitating them with speakers we're doing one now on international incarceration, and we have people from all over the world. We've had a speaker last week from Uganda who was on death row there. Oh, wow. We've even had gentlemen who would join us via the phone, just like this, from North Carolina's death row. And, I learned so much about humanity. And so I love the enlightenment that comes with the classes. There's information on our website. It's facelessnomore.org. Okay. And then my work that I do also is with Hope Center Ministries. And as I said, we have the different facilities across the country. We're expanding heavily into the Carolinas and Virginia. We have 2 homes that are beautiful facilities in Wayne County. We are opening one hopefully in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, and also some in South Carolina. We have some in Virginia. But I like teaching about these subjects, educating people on it. But I feel it's so important to stay in close proximity to these faces and these individuals and these families. Not only the individual, but the family that's suffering from addiction. Oh yeah,
it's a ripple effect. If that the one person who struggles with addiction, there's at least a half a dozen that are also very directly and severely affected. But it goes on from there. When you have family gatherings and it can get very, very involved. So when I took a look at the website, facelessnomore.org. I noticed that these are online courses predominantly, Mark, and anybody can take them if they want to learn more?
They are, for the past year, since COVID, they have been via Zoom. And but prior to that, we were doing them in person. And one of the things, the titles that I work on is addiction, homelessness, and incarceration because of the common thread that often runs through them. Yeah. So the courses primarily are offered through Duke University's Osher Lifelong Learning Program. But I do go out and teach to faith communities. I offer classes to different communities as well. But, we cover all the subjects. I always bring in speakers. We've had some, what I would refer to as keynote speakers, such as Sister Helen Prejean, who was a subject of and the author of the movie Dead Man Walking. We've got the DA actually from San Francisco joining us in a program. We've had the men from death row. Just putting the faces of addiction, homelessness, and incarceration in perspective. We can have the experts talk about all the statistics that are out there and the facts, but when you can introduce them to somebody who is actually going through detox or sitting on North Carolina's death row or who has lost a child or a loved one to addiction. So many times they can connect.
Yeah.
And there's one thing, Mark, and this may happen to you sometimes, but one thing happens when I do go out and speak or I teach a class. Oftentimes I get an email, or if it's in person, they'll come up to me afterwards and they'll say, Mark, don't tell anybody but. And the rest of the story is about their own addiction or their son's incarceration or their husband's. Or oftentimes they'll say, Mark, don't tell anybody, but I was incarcerated myself. I suffered from addiction. So,
well, it sounds like what you're doing, Mark, is and again, I'm sorry to interject, but we got to wrap it up. You know, a lot of people speak about addressing or putting an end to the stigma. I think you're doing a terrific job doing that, and so many other things. So, Mark, would you like to give out this number, or would the best way to contact you via the website?
They can. You can take this number. That's perfectly fine.
Okay.
The website also has a contact me note on there.
All right.
Mark, I appreciate this opportunity, and I do send out best wishes and prayers and thoughts for Derek as well.
Thank you. I knew you would, Mark. And when are you getting to the beach, man?
Hopefully very soon.
Good.
Hopefully very soon. Get the boat ready, and I'll be there.
I'm getting it ready, bud. Thank you, Mark. I really appreciate your time. That's Mark Hall, Faceless No More, facelessnomore.org to learn more. Thank you, Mark.
And thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
And thank you, folks, for tuning in this evening. I would say tune in next week. Well, I will say that, but I forget who my guest is, so don't worry. It'll be good. We'll see you next week, and God bless you.
Bringing you the best local talk radio shows, Wilmington's Big Talker 106.7 FM, WFBT.